Hey, what is going on, adventurers? It's Orlando Mike. As you can see, I'm back outside Universal Studios Florida today. I've seen a bunch of photos online, but I am here to finally check out all of the updates that are just going on inside Universal Studios for Halloween Horror Nights this year. We're going to check out the scare zones, see what new props are put out, and we're going to go over possible house locations and things as well. So without further ado, let's not waste any more time. Let's head on in. So first things first is that out here at the archway, the medallion has returned, but it is still bearing the Paris Olympics 2024 banner. It was gone for a couple of days due to the tropical storm / hurricane that we just had. That is moving on, so they've put it back up. But I'm sure it'll be only a matter of days before that medallion is taken down and the HHN medallion will rise. Also, the Archway Plaza has all of its lights now. These two smaller stanchions here will be used to illuminate the ground all through here, and the taller stanchion that's here and here are going to be used to light up the archway, the medallion, and if they bring them back, the posters that usually hang on either side of the main arch. So once again, just like last year, guys, inside of the front gates there is a truss set up with these three speakers on it. This was used to really project the audio from both the opening ceremonies and from the scare zone itself out into the entryway as you approach. Last year, obviously, this is where Dr. Oddfellow went up on the truss inside the park there to do his ceremonies, and it looks like that is also going to be the case this year. We might possibly see Sinister, Surreal, or both of them on top of that inner truss during the opening ceremonies, and then they will come down and hang out in this entrance scare zone right here. Now, the thing with this truss is that if you are further back up this walkway here, it will obscure the view of the actual stage platform up there because these big speakers will block your view. So if you guys want a good view of the opening ceremonies during HHN, get here earlier and wait by the gates, or wait by either the ticket scanning lines here or here, because that will give you the best unobscured view. So here with the entrance truss, guys, they do have these cross wires set up on the sides of it, but a couple days ago they actually had wires going across the front and back as well. That was due to the storm, but it looks like those have been removed, so it looks like work might soon be continuing on the entrance scare zone. It will obviously go under that truss and then continue here to the right hand side, but a lot of people are speculating, or rather hoping, that the scare zone will extend just a little bit towards the Despicable Me area, because you remember last year it just came here and then immediately hooked right, and Oddfellows went straight into the Dark Zodiac scare zone down there at Hollywood. But we do know this year that the zone over in Hollywood will be Demon Queens, which is going to be Surreal's scare zone, and that Torture Fair over in New York, which we'll be checking out later, is going to be Sinister's scare zone. So a lot of people are speculating / hoping that the entrance scare zone here, which will be Duality of Fear, is going to push just a little bit into the Despicable Me area, so that way you really tell the demons, okay, you go right to go to Demon Queens and Surreal, or you go straight to New York for Sinister. Alright guys, so they just dropped the ropes. I am making my way into the park now, and you can see up there in the red, that is my buddy HHN Speculation Matt hoofing it over to New York because he's going to do his coverage. Guys, if you aren't following Matt already on Instagram or X, formerly known as Twitter, I believe on Twitter you can find him at Speculation Matt, and on Instagram you can find him at HHN Speculation Matt. So over here in New York, guys, looks like there's not a lot of updates that have happened with the main stage here for the Torture Fair. We obviously have the Iron Maiden that is set up there, the Torture Fair sign, which actually looks like it said in modern day in this year, because in the sun there it does say 2024, and it looks like here on this upper, either this upper platform or this lower one, is where those thrones would be that was shown in the concept art by Darren Scott from the HHN UK panel. Guys, if you want to go check out those photos, follow Darren Scott on X, aka Twitter. But I'm wondering right here if there's going to be some kind of mist or steam effect because of this storm gray right here. But guys, just getting a close-up look at this Iron Maiden, dude. This thing actually looks very intimidating. And just with the screaming face and how tall this thing is. I mean, I'm about 6'1", and this thing is probably easily over 7 feet tall. And I just can't wait to see what kind of effect is going to go along with this Iron Maiden. Although, I do know one thing. There is a good way to describe this Iron Maiden, and I'll turn it over to Bill and Ted for that.
Iron Maiden? Excellent!
And then right over here outside of the Palace Arcade, there is this one little stand set up. This stand was definitely used last year and in the Vamp 69 scare zone, because it's got the shells back here. There's like one of the pieces, but it's obviously just been repainted and rethemed to fit with the Ren Fair vibe. And right here in Sting Alley, there's not been a lot of work going on aside from the red lights they have strung up. That's because right through the archway, they're doing all that road work right now. So if there is going to be anything in Sting Alley like a food stand or whatnot, they will have to finish up that road work most likely before they bring stuff in here to set up. So actually guys, I do apologize. So coming around to the other side of Sting Alley with Transformers behind me, the alleyway is actually open. So I'm not sure why that stand is still there. However, they are doing sidewalk work here, which this leads into the Chicago street where you see the Blues Brothers perform. Now, this is a development that actually got a lot of people hyped because one of the original houses that was announced this year was Major Sweet Candy Factory, obviously based on the amazing Scare Zone from HHN 31 that was in New York. If you come over here to Fast and Furious Supercharged, by the ECV parking, you can look in and see a smokestack here, purple and orange, but obviously very much old and rusted and covered in soot, because that is the entrance facade. Again, that was teased in the concept art. Throw that in right here. So that means this, guys, will be the entrance. Usually this area here is always the exit, so the house is flipped this year. So I'm curious to see how that layout is going to work and be different. So I know it's kind of hard to see just because of the bush and obviously the way the facade is angled, but you can just make out part of the E, the T, and the S for sweets. Oh, so I actually missed this, you guys. There are actually 2 smokestacks set up there. I'm kind of standing right in front of the fountain just to give you guys kind of an angle, but you can actually see 2 smokestacks here, which is really cool. I'm excited to see that facade. I'm super excited for that house. It is really up there in my pre-HHN hype list. So guys, now that we're here inside San Francisco, we're finally getting a look at the Blumhouse Scare Zone. But you can see this first stage right here is actually 2-sided, because obviously here's the door and the steps for the scare actor. But on the other side, there's another door and platform. Let's cut back around to the front. So here's the other side of that Blumhouse door and stairs that we were just at. You can see them back there. So there will likely be 2 characters on here. You can also see they have the speaker and trigger here. This one also has its speaker and trigger set up. Now here at this little small wall that has like the kind of decayed, decrepit house look to it, these barrels have now appeared and they do have writing on them. Now I just want to point out certain things, like they say words and they all have initials and things on them, which I'm thinking might be character initials. But you can see this one right here actually says HHN and 33. And I actually pointed this one out to my friend Annie over there, Adventures by Annie. She's the one who got that dragon drone footage. I'm glad I actually noticed this before she did, because I'm gonna be bragging about that for a long time. Right here on this barrel, it says PURG. So it's looking like the Purge in some form or another will be featured in this scare zone. So obviously at the main truss here, it has obviously received a bunch of lighting around here, which suggests to me this is gonna have a very party-like atmosphere. And there are also some details that have popped up on that wall down there. Now Annie has been saying while she's been filming this, she just wants this to be like a huge like Megan rave with like a little bit of the Purge thrown into it.
Megan, spastic Megan dancing.
Yeah, and like right over here at these barrels, this is where I really kind of noticed the initials that I pointed out to Annie. I'm gonna have to start going through Blumhouse's filmography and find out if these initials have anything to do with like character names, or maybe it's people in creative that just kind of threw it as a little nod in there. But just like the barrel that's back there again that has Purge written on it, these wreaths were featured in the Purge Scare Zone from a few years back. So that almost kind of confirms that The Purge will be one of the films featured in this scare zone. But Annie once again pointed out to me right over here the lockers in the, what is it, chipmunk, beaver?
I think it's beaver.
The beaver had. So obviously Freaky will be one of the houses also featured. Now I don't know about you, but I loved that double feature Blumhouse house with Freaky and the Black Phone. That was an amazing house last year.
So we're just gonna have Freaky and the Black Phone in the street now. So good we had it twice.
Yeah, I know, but I'm excited to see how the Major Sweets Candy Factory house is going to be, because where the facade is, I mean, HHN 365 says you're probably going to enter backwards, so we're going to go through it backwards potentially.
Oh, interesting.
Because if the facade is at where the end of the house normally is, we're going to be going through backwards.
Well, what I heard was that they actually had trees and stuff that were all cleared out back there, so now instead of using part of the queue for the house, they're just using all that outdoor space, so it's going to be like a different layout because they're not using the indoor queue this year.
Oh.
So they got rid of the trees to make more space back there for the house. So it's probably going to be a different layout. I don't think we're not going to probably enter through like the house like you did last year. You know, that was actually, I'm sweating out here, sorry. Last year when you entered through into Chucky, it was like you were actually physically walking into the building that was still Fast and Furious. That was the house. This year I think all the house is just going to be outside in a tent. None of it's going to actually be in an indoor part of it.
But also, just a side note, I was talking to Annie about these earlier. These massive projectors, I'm just wondering if these are going to be, maybe they'll have like screens hanging up and it'll show videos of like Blumhouse.
If it's The Purge and these are windows, people could be like getting stabbed in the windows and stuff.
Good point.
Years before we've done window stuff in New York, and now we have all
because they did that for Seek and Destroy. If you looked up at the windows at the right moment, you saw those. You saw the creatures from Seek and Destroy killing people in their apartments.
So that's the thing, is that I'm wondering if that's why we've got these buildings. You know, we've got
because you got these windows here,
and the platform is pointing the projectors at the windows. So
yeah, but then there's that one projector on top that's just pointing at the wall.
Well, who knows? It could be on fire. The whole place could just be on fire.
Also, I just noticed this on this barrel. I'm just surprised that I've noticed these little things that like Matt and Annie haven't. They have Little Boo graffitied onto this bucket because you got his body here, you got his eyes, you got his mouth, and then you got his little stock right here. Dude, that is just so funny that I noticed that. I also noticed this little message right here at the bottom of the barrel, kind of hidden. It says G Heart K. So again, I'm gonna have to go back and look at characters and storylines and stuff and try and figure out what that is. But the first thing that came to my mind was Grabber loves kids. You know, the Grabber from the Black Phone. He always kidnaps kids. So then at the other end of the scare zone here by the Brickworks and the Amazing Picture Stall, they have another one of those dual-sided stages. Only this person will come in through this door. The scare actor on this side will just come up from the side of the stage. But right now I'm hightailing it after Annie because we're gonna go check out the theater now where Nightmare Fuel Nocturnal Circus is going to be. Now I don't know about you, but I just kind of think like Nightmare Fuel Nocturnal Circus, that's gonna be cool.
Oh, I love circus themes. Like, I mean, they already were doing circusy enough stuff in there that if you just add some like creepy circus theme to it, dark circus, I don't know, I just love it. I'm a circus girl though, so I'm more excited, and I'm kind of hoping it's its own like new storyline. I don't want to play more. I want like brand new story.
Yeah, like, I mean, I love the whole like Dreamer Nightmare Queen thing, but I think last year with the girl becoming the new Nightmare Queen, that was a good way to end it. Yeah. That was a good way to cap it off. But like, yeah, if they do the circus theme right, this show is gonna be amazing. I mean, Nightmare Fuel is always amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
No matter what.
I mean, they got an award 2 years ago for Wildfire, so I would love to see them get another award if they step it up this year with this Nocturnal Circus, and it's a whole new theme and stuff. They could really, they could do a lot. I'm excited.
I just hope somewhere on the set there's like artwork or graffiti or something, and it kind of looks like Jack.
Oh.
Just like as a nod, as the Horror Circus OG. So far here at the stage for Nightmare Fuel Nocturnal Circus, all I can see is right about here. You can see there's part of like a circus tent. right there. That's really all I can see from this side. But let's hop over to the other side, see if we can see anything else. So there's really nothing to see from this right side kind of look into the theater, aside from the speakers and the lighting rigs. I actually scratched that. Just inside there, once again, you can see kind of that circus tent kind of look right about there. And there's some kind of silver material kind of going around it. Not really sure what that's for, but I'm excited to see the show either way. Annie and I were just passing by the night bus, and they have a female conductor out here today. They actually just started doing this, I think, a few weeks ago, but I just love that there's now a female conductor here for the night bus. That is so cute. So, quick side note, going back through San Francisco, obviously they have the small stage set up here that's been here for a number of days now. This will likely be a character stage for the Peacock Bar, which is heavily rumored to be coming back this year to Halloween Horror Nights. They obviously have a couple lighting stanchions set up here already, but as you approach the overhang for the seating area, it is actually roped off. Now, whether it's roped off just for the morning while they're not open, or if it's roped off as they prepare to bring in all of the bar stuff that'll be back here, we're not sure. But as of now, this whole patio area is roped off. So guys, Annie actually mentioned this to me, so we had to kind of rush back over here to New York. We have the first two food stands, right? This is the first two they've put up. And obviously they are both themed to Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. We obviously got Ivan's Deli and Grocery right over here, all frozen over and chilly looking. And then you have what looks to be the Firehouse, I believe, set up here. No menus yet inside because they've not released the full food menu. But I'm really curious to see what food offerings they'll have here for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. But now Annie and I were actually heading over towards Central Park because this is the scare zone that without a doubt easily has the most work done. It might be already near completion. It's Swamp of the Undead. If you have a pre-HHN hype list, where is this zone ranking in your hype list?
Probably the top, because without a lagoon show, without that like loud and stuff going on and the music, this gets really themey with the lighting and stuff. And last year it was my favorite zone because it was so quiet and like really immersive. It's small, it's covered, all that. I think this one really puts you into a scare zone, whereas the others feel so open and everything. So this is the one I'm hyped for.
So already just at the entrance here, you can already see the immense theming that they have going on. They have all these fences and like window panels and scrim covering the fences. They have the boat and the fishing rods here. The stanchions are all covered in green. They have the moss and camo hanging from the ropes here. Obviously you have this little small setup here, which I'm feeling this will be a scare actor spot for sure, just because all this wood planking here has the mesh netting where the scare actor can see you and they can just hide right back here and then just pop out. But if that's the case, then this trash and recycling can need to be moved, or else the scare actors are just gonna run into them every time. You have this semi-big stage right up here. I don't think this will have scare actors on it just because of the gaps in the planking, but this could be a great spot for a scare actor to hide underneath, potentially right here, and just kind of reach out and lunge at you. But you can see they also have a fog machine tucked back in here. This area, I feel like this scare zone as a whole is probably just going to be full of fog, because it's going to want to create that swampy, you know, just mucky kind of vibe to it. And I think what's going to help that is right here, you're going to have these lights creating kind of shadows and like swirls and things along the surface of the fog, you know, which is just going to be super cool to see. Again, another semi-small platform right here set up. Potential hiding places for a scare actor. There's a speaker tucked back in there, so not a fog machine, but I mean, with all this theming along the fences, there are probably countless places they can have fog machines. And you'll probably have another character just kind of roaming right around this area here. Again, more lights. It'll kind of create that like moonbeam effect to shine through the fences. This is the hut that is probably easily the tallest set piece so far outside of the house setup for the Blumhouse area. And obviously from this shack, it has like an old rope bridge right here that would have gone across this way. I wonder if they're going to add like another section of you know, broken drawbridge over there. Again, you have another one of those little half sunken boats right here with that mirror effect, which I'm really curious to see how that is going to play into, you know, the theming of the zone. You got another crushed boat here, another semi-big set piece here, obviously the Pardon Our Dust sign for Halloween Horror Nights, which always gets everyone excited to see. Another small set piece, again another place where a scratcher can pop out at you. Another sunken boat with the mirror, and I believe this is the boat that someone pointed out has Orca written on it. If you guys look right in here, you can see the RCA for Orca. Obviously a nod to Jaws. Alright guys, so it's now a little bit later in the day. Fast and Furious is now open, so now we can get a real good close-up look at those smokestacks for the Major Suites facade, as well as some of the letters there. Let's get a closer look at those letters. Now you guys can really see the backside of those letters there. You can see the S, the T, and a little bit of the E's, but it's just tough from our angle to really make them out clearly. I just hope that for the smokestacks here, they're gonna add in some kind of like fog effect to make it look like they're steaming, like it's an active working factory. So as you guys can see, Lil Boo has made his return to Halloween Horror Nights. The plush pillow has been refilled, in addition to the ID holder, which is back here. They have the little coaster, they have the ornament, they have the mug, they have, I believe, this, I don't know if that's the standard shirt or the lady shirt, but that might just be the standard shirt. Obviously this is where all of your kind of steampunk Horror Nights merch is. The ornament, the ID holder, the shirt, and the candle, and the sticker packs. This is the Lil Boo kid shirt that just dropped the other day. But now right here, this is the Halloween Horror Nights fan that just dropped the other day. Super cool. Green on the outside. It's got the logo, it's got the skull, the rib cage, the vampire fangs, and the steampunk skull. You do have the 3-pin set with the Halloween Horror Nights logo, the eyeball, and the steampunk skull. You have this year's freestyle souvenir tumbler. Again, very similar design to the shirt. And they also have the wallet here. Now, the wallet I want to highlight because it's very interesting, because at Halloween Horror Nights, I believe after 5 p.m. chains like this are not allowed in the park and at the event. Now I love the wallet, don't get me wrong, I'm gonna definitely get my hands on one at some point, but I'm just curious as to why they would sell the Horror Nights wallet with a chain when you cannot bring these into the event. And kind of same thing here with the little clutch, is that it has these chains on it, and if the wallet chains aren't allowed, I imagine these won't be either. So just a little curious thing. But here, back behind the main display where the new shirt is set up, they still have Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, they still have the orange shirt, and they have the new one with Lil Boo right here, obviously. And as we turn around, we have the Quiet Place shirt and the heat reactive mug. They have Ghostbusters Frozen Empire and the hat, which honestly I'm not crazy about the hat because of this quality. This is just like a little print on design, and it peels. You can see this one's kind of peeling a little bit right here. You can see the underside of the decal right there on my finger. And then they have obviously the Insidious shirt right here, in addition to the candle. So now guys, let's talk possible HHN house locations. And starting here outside Despicable Me, Minion Mayhem, this alleyway will likely be the entrance for A Quiet Place, because with all of the innovations they plan to do with this house, I think it needs to be in its own soundstage, no other houses around it. So this entrance way to the soundstage seems the most plausible. So my theory is that A Quiet Place is going to be where Blood Moon Dark Offerings was last year. So over here guys at Music Plaza, which last year was the queue and entrance for The Exorcist Believer, I have a feeling that if they're gonna put a house here, I feel like this would probably either be Insidious. So now right here at the Metropolis Tribune, which is a part of Jimmy Fallon, and was last year the entrance to Stranger Things, I feel like it would only be justice if this HHN house entrance were to be for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, given its proximity to the old firehouse facade, which was for the Ghostbusters stage show that used to be here before Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket was built. And now back here in the alley leading towards the library, I feel like this is for the two house entrance, which last year was Dueling Dragons and Yeti. This is likely going to be either Triplets of Terror or Monstros. With the sound stages, it's always harder to tell because you can't see facades until you're actually, you know, at the event, or until they put up the house portals and people peek in and see what the posters say. And right here, just to the right of the stage where Nightmare Fuel Nocturnal Circus will take place, there are these two stanchions. So I'm not sure what this will be for. This will likely be house entrances, because obviously we have the two new sprung tents that are kind of back here, way back here behind the Men in Black building. I personally believe those two tents may be Universal Monsters and Goblin's Feast. There was a photo from BioReconstruct a while back. I'll throw that in here. You can see one of the tents is starting to get its facade. The other one hasn't quite gotten it yet, but we'll probably see in the coming days as those facades grow. We'll be able to pinpoint which two houses those new sprung tents will be. And that means that this area here by the Men in Black bathrooms, this will likely be the entrances for the Museum Deadly exhibit. And back on the other side there, closer to the bathrooms, that will probably be for Slaughter Cinema 2.